searching, solving mysteries in the night. Chasing shadows, finding answers, shining my light. No one's left behind, in the darkness all alone. With a heart like a siren, she brings the lost ones home. Silent cries in the dark no longer have to be, for justice wheels keep turning, granny on the beat. Broken voices find their power, call out hope again. When pennies crime busters run, no victims left in pain. Bravery in her veins, truth she won't disguise. With a fire in her eyes, she's got nothing to deny. Granny fights for justice, never backs down from the call. For the voiceless and the missing, she'll stand tall.
Hello, everyone. How is everybody doing tonight? Hope you're all doing good. I decided tonight to talk about the two Sullivan kids, Lily and Jack. There's so much going on in that case, and it seems like everybody's covering it. And I thought, the more I started looking into it, the more my heart just bleeds for these kids. Hello, Ginger Girl. Good to see you. Good to see ya. Everybody else that's in the bushes out there. We'll get started with our spotlight on the missing. And the first one we have is Zontaria Mosley. I think that's how you say her name. Zontaria, something like that. She's been missing since April 24th, 2024. Last seen Memphis, Tennessee. She's 17, 5 feet 7 inches tall, 125 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. If anyone knows where she is or anything about her disappearance, please call the Memphis Police Department, 911 or 1-800-GBI-FIND. Our second one tonight is Kendall Norwood. Kendall has been missing from Memphis since December 28th, 2024. He's 17 years old, 5 foot 3 inches tall, 140 pounds, black hair, and brown eyes. If anybody knows anything about Kendall's whereabouts or his disappearance, please call the Memphis Police Department, 911 or 1-800-GBI-FIND. Thank you, guys. I hate that these kids are missing and just nothing about them. Hello, K9. Good to see you. Brenda Joe, good to see you. My lovely mods are in here. So I have been doing a lot of research on these two little kids. Lily is 6 and Jack is 4. They went missing from their trailer home. Out a patio door that they said was super, super quiet while the parents were sleeping with the 18-month-old that they have together. Now, the mother and the stepfather, if that's who you can call them, are not married, I don't believe. And he is not their biological father. Not a whole lot's been said about the biological father, so I don't know too much about that. But yeah, just very tragic circumstances. This is the mom. And then That's the two of them together, and they do have an 18-month-old together. So there's some things that are going on in this case that are a little questionable. Some of you may know more about it than I do, but we're going to go ahead and watch a couple of like short clips and talk about each one afterwards. So first there's this one. It's 9 minutes long. This one was a good one for just kind of giving an overview of what happened to these two precious little babies, right?
In the quiet, wooded community of Lansdowne Station in northeastern Nova Scotia, a chilling mystery gripped the province on May 2nd, 2025, when 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother Jack vanished from their rural home, leaving behind very bizarre details. So as the search enters its 5th day, online sleuths on TikTok found an interview with the children's stepfather, Andrew Martel, peculiar.
You know, they took their boots. That's pink boots for Lily, blue boots for Jack, with dinosaurs on them. Lily had her backpack with white, and it was white with strawberries on it. I imagine now if they're in the woods that it'd be probably brown, but I don't see them carrying their backpack. I don't see them keeping a pull-up one for that long after it got soaked from the very first day. We only found the 2 boot tracks outside of the house.
Whereabouts?
Right beside the house, probably 10 feet away from the backyard.
In the backyard, okay.
So I did have a quick question when I saw Daniel Martel, that's the name of the stepfather. When I saw him talking, he stated that the 4-year-old Jack was in a pull-up. So why? I mean, guys, those of you who have had children, I'm just bringing things up, right? I haven't made a determination on guilt or innocence or anything like that yet. I'm keeping all my options open until I find out more. But we have learned how to look at things with a critical eye, have we not? My question is, why is a 4-year-old in a pull-up? At the very latest, it's usually 2 years old, right? That your children are trained, potty trained. Unless you're just not doing anything.
Nothing new other than the helicopters are still in the air, and they had dogs. They took around the dogs today, and as of last night, they had 8 more drones going up with infrared. I urge the public to come out if you have anything, come out as fast as possible and get it to any detachment or any police service that you have available to get to talk to. And Jack just absolutely loves bugs, dinosaurs, anything like that. But Lily loves girly things, but she also loves doing everything with Jack, bugs. They're like best friends, not just brother and sister.
So sleuths on TikTok pointed out how the stepfather spoke of Lily and Jack in the past tense, as if they were already gone. For example, he said, quote, Lily had their backpack and Jack loved bugs. Other sleuths pointed out how he described Lily's strawberry backpack as brown or dirty, which they found was kind of weird to point out. I guess almost foreshadowing how she may be found. And sleuths found it peculiar how he knew particular details about what they were wearing. For example, Jack's blue dinosaur boots, despite claiming he never saw them that morning. These points sparked heated social media debates. I mean, it could be argued that he knew what boots Jack had on because the boots were missing from the home. A CBC News report later quoted Martel saying the children were home from Salt Springs Elementary on Friday, May 2nd, because Lily, quote, had a cough, end quote. And then this reporter goes on to clarify that neither children attended school the entire week of April 28th to May 2nd.
Lily and Jack are...
Okay. So to me, that's suspicious. The kids were gone from school all week. So my question is, when did these kids really go missing? I mean, this could be on the up and up. Maybe they really were sick. But it's something we have to question, right? And I'm sure it's something that the police are questioning. If the kids were home all week, I'm just saying, did anybody see them during that week, or is it just the parents that saw them?
Awesome kids, very, very kind. They'll talk to anyone. They want to go with anyone. They're just looking to have as much fun as they can.
A spokesperson for the Chignecto Central Regional Center for Education tells us the two children were students at Salt Springs Elementary School. Their stepdad told us they'd both been out sick all week before disappearing on Friday.
So just to recap there, because this raised a lot of red flags, the children were sick all week from school before they disappeared, according to that report. So could you arguably say that that entire week, the only people who saw these kids were the parents? And is it possible that these kids were missing for a lot longer than what the parents reported? Personally, I found it strange the stepfather knew Lily was sick with a cough, but later said they didn't see the kids at all that day. To know your daughter is sick, wouldn't you have had to seen her? So those sort of small details really trip me up. And just to clarify, the stepfather, Martle, and the children's mother, Maleha Brooks Murray, said they did not see Lily and Jack that morning, but heard them moving in the house. So the children's mother, Brooks Murray, told CTV she heard them playing in the next room before drifting back to sleep, insisting her kids, who never wander outside alone, were safely indoors. Yet these two slipped out through a virtually silent sliding back door, which the parents say they can't hear when open, slipping on Jack's dinosaur boots, which Martell said were missing from the front door.
What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us, and I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet.
So how does she know that they slipped out the back door? How does she know that they were outside playing? Because she admitted she didn't hear them. Right? Isn't that one of Deception Detective's things? I'm pretty sure it is. I can't think of which one it is, but let me catch up with you guys here. All right. Potty training for your son began when he was 2. Gotcha. Hi, Rebecca. I tend to agree, and I seriously wonder if that patio door was as quiet as they like to say it was. I mean, if you're... So here's a picture of the trailer, okay? And guys, you're going to see more. This is kind of a mild picture compared to what you will see in a little bit. But if you're going to live this way, I doubt that you're going to keep your doors oiled or anything else. I could be wrong, totally wrong. Maybe because of the baby, they keep everything, all their doors oiled. I don't know, but I would tend to say, yeah, I think patio doors are probably, I don't know that, but don't they make like a swishing sound, don't they? When they open and close? I don't know. So the father said they were out of school all week. That's kind of what I'm thinking so far. Yes. Hi, Maui. Good to see you. Please bring these children and bring them home today. Yes. Here's the thing, though. If they are out in the elements, guys, they're too little to know how to survive on their own. And police do not believe that they're alive any longer. Right? Yeah, a lot of us do because they're too easy to break into, right? So we put that wooden brace in the patio door and, evidently they didn't have one. But let's continue on.
And we get up and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, do you hear the kids? And he says, no. And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call.
Okay, so hold on a second. And I realize this is the first video that we're kind of watching for an overall, but allegedly they got up at 8 and 911 wasn't called until 10 o'clock. And she just said, so here is a discrepancy already. That does not bode well for this case. All right, so why? I hate this. I hate it, guys. I just hate it. I hate when parents aren't truthful when they have missing children. But let's continue.
They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone. They'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store. Everyone. They're just extremely sweet kids. I appreciate the huge search effort going on right now. But we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued. Not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know that they are missing. We had people text me saying that they weren't aware someone else let them know that they were missing, and it would just be nice if everyone could be alerted. We thought maybe that we found tracks, but it's still uncertain. It's been raining and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they are feeling warm.
And that is the other thing. And even Ginger mentioned it this past week that Canada has been getting a lot of rain. And rain, even in the spring, it's cold in Canada. You're going to be cold to the bone when it's raining like that. She wants the Amber Alert. So then she brings up that they're a little bit autistic, but they talk and everything else. I think she only brought up the autism thing. It doesn't sound like they're diagnosed as such. And I think she only brought it up because that's one of the ways in Canada to get an Amber Alert issued. But that's not going to work. The police are not going to do that. Yeah. Because, I was sent some things today, looked at it, and according to Canada's rules on Amber Alerts, that, there has to be evidence of an abduction. And right now, they're still going with the fact that the children ran away, walked off. So, there has not been an Amber Alert issued yet. Hello, Noni. Good to see you. Yeah, it's starting to look a little bit touchy here for me. Yeah, it is called an Amber Alert in Canada. There must be a secret script book for parents whose kids go missing. They all seem to say the same stupid stuff. They do, don't they? You know, deception did I wish I could think of the one thing that he said. Was it started with the C, confidence? That, like they're confident that this is what happened when there's no evidence of that. I think that's what he talked about at one point, if you guys, and where she was talking about they went out that door. It's very quiet. We can't hear it. They were outside playing. How does she know that? She didn't see him or hear him outside playing. So how does she know that? But she was saying it with confidence. Right? So it's kind of different. Let's continue on.
We're all filled with pain and sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home. Everyone loves them. They are definitely verbal, and they do have possible autism, but it's not extreme autism. It's just they have issues with school, and they don't catch up with the other kids. I just want to remain hopeful. But there's
Okay, so that's where she talks about the autism. I am really beginning to, how things go in kind of like waves. It seems like right now everybody is saying their children are autistic, right? Things go in waves, and I remember ADHD was another one that there was a wave all of a sudden. And it's crazy. Children should be diagnosed by professionals as to what they really are. A medical label should not be placed on them without being properly diagnosed. And that's irritating me because I think it takes away from that disability, right? People who really are autistic, then, it just, I don't know. If you get what I'm saying, I just don't like it that everybody's being labeled that right now. It's ridiculous. I saw a video of a birthday party, and I don't know if the birthday party was for Jack, but Lily was just screaming, and nobody was saying anything to her for the longest time. And I'm like, why are you letting this child just scream? It made no sense to me. And then finally somebody said, Lily, please stop, and then she stopped. And that's all it took. So, ADHD, something. Typically, if they're behind in school, it's usually due to lack of focus, right? I don't know, but I'm not going to put a label on them. I'm just saying they should be properly diagnosed, and if they haven't been, then don't be using the autistic label. You guys think I'm wrong? Yes, she has. Uh, I didn't know things can be so different here from state to state, and I can't keep up. It's true, right? Yes, and I wouldn't have known that if Ginger hadn't sent me that stuff today. And guys, I could show you all different kinds of things. I'm not going to because it's just true, so much to get. But yeah, you can Google it, and it is an Amber Alert in Canada. And maybe if Ginger has that link handy, she could put it in chat for us too, so you guys can see what it takes for an Amber Alert in Canada. Yeah, I would have said inside voice, Lily. Yeah, something like that, you know. Because I mean, and guys, I mean, she was literally screaming at the top of her lungs, right? I mean, she was screaming. It wasn't that she was being noisy and shouting or anything. She was screaming, and it was loud. Good question. Well, there's another discrepancy. I didn't even catch that, Canine. That's why I love you guys. You guys are right on top of it. I mean, well, Lily's 6, so she could be in first grade, right? So she could be behind. Maybe he's behind where he should be at 4 years old. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, and exactly. I, you know, to me, having autism, having ADHD, having chromosome deletion disorder, or any other medically related disability. Well, if she was in preschool, then she is probably behind then because she's 6 years old. Those should be only used when they're accurately diagnosed, in my opinion. You know, let's finish this one up.
It's always in a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst. Last night was one of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds.
Did you hear that, guys? I'm sorry I keep stopping this. A mother's mind is always thinking the worst. Really? Really, guys? Is a mother's mind always thinking the worst? Because mine wouldn't be there. Mine would be, they're going to find them. They're going to come home. They're going to find them. Right? I don't know. A mother's mind is always thinking the worst. Chris Watts said the same thing about them not being in their beds. Yeah. Seriously, though, guys, do you think a mother's mind always thinks the worst? That's exactly what she said. Gosh, I do not want to go after this mother at all. I'm just trying to learn about this case, and I'm not having a very good feeling about it. Thank you, Ginger. I appreciate that. So, you guys, if you want to know about Amber Alerts in Canada or in Nova Scotia, the RCMP, that's the link for that, okay? All right, let's continue on.
Well, something I just want to point out here is that it seems that both parents are trying to push this abduction theory and stressing that their kids are just very nice kids that will talk to any stranger, kind of painting them out that, they did talk to the wrong stranger and were abducted. I just kind of get the sense that they're both pushing that theory. Also, something that people are pointing out in both of the parents' interviews is that there appears to be no tears here. So I don't know how I would react in this situation, but a lot of people are saying that they would be a lot more hysterical than how she is acting. Despite Brooks Murray's plea for an Amber Alert shouting, "I want my babies home" on social media, the RCMP did not issue one as they believe Lily and Jack wandered off into the dense Pictou County woods, not abducted, a stance echoed across reports since no evidence suggests foul play. And I kind of took that ominously, like there's no evidence of foul play. So could the parents require a closer investigation? The very next day, May 3rd, Brooks Murray fled Pictou County to, quote, be with family, end quote, leaving Martell behind, and per a Canadian Press bombshell, blocked him on social media, a move he said left him baffled, muttering, quote, "I don't know why she left," end quote. This fueled whispers of a rift. The RCMP is conducting a detailed search and does not require public assistance, but urges residents to check their properties, including sheds, garages, or other.
Okay, so from what I have heard and learned, they got into some kind of altercation and RCMP told her to leave with the baby. It's the reason why she left. Because boy, when I heard she left, I was like, oh no, here we go, another Katie, right? But if they got into an altercation and RCMP told them to leave, then I guess I understand that, right? Tensions would be high right now. But he brought up a very good point. Neither mother or whatever you want to call, he's not even really a stepdad, right? Or mother's partner. That's what she called him, her partner. Neither mother nor mother's partner really were crying. And in that little interview he did, there were no tears. He just was trying to make it look like he was crying, in my opinion.
Other place where children might hide. The RCMP says there's no evidence of abduction in the Sullivan case, sticking to the idea that Lily and Jack wandered off. But the fenced yard, silent door, and 5-day absence from school raises chilling questions. Why didn't the parents see their kids slip out? And how did Martell nail Jack's boots so precisely? Why did Brooke Murray ditch town and ghost her partner amid the chaos? As the search enters its 5th day with no backpack, no boots, just a ghostly footprint, Pictou County holds its breath, wondering if the truth is lost in the woods or hidden in plain sight.
Okay. So that's the first one. Let's see. So red flag for them to be pushing a narrative. Definitely. They're pushing a narrative just like Chris and Katie did. I don't know why he walked out that door. Right? They're talking. Oh, they'll talk to anybody. Right? Like making it sound like your kids, my question is, did you never teach them not to speak to strangers? Just saying. And Noni says, I'm guilty of being worst case scenario when thinking of some things when it comes to my kids. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, this was 2 days missing. She's so calm. And she also left right after this interview. And so, yeah, she left, but then she blocked him. So that tells you something's going on, guys. Right? And Ginger says she's always thinking worst case as well. She's staying with family. on the reservation, I think. Is that right, Ginger? You can correct me. But the RCMP knew she left, or suggested it, or some dumb thing, something like that. I'm not making it such a big deal about those blue boots, guys, and here's why. If the blue boots are gone, then he must have been wearing them. You know, I don't understand why there's being a big fuss being made online about that. It's no different than Sebastian's shoes were all accounted for. He had to have left barefooted or stocking footed, right? It's the same difference. They're either there or they're not. And that tells you that if they're not, he left with those blue boots on, right? I mean, it's not rocket science. So I don't understand why there's being such a big thing made about those blue boots. They're not making a big thing about her pink boots, right? So it makes no sense. Yes, and there was a domestic call the Saturday before, a DV call. So there's been trouble in paradise, guys. Trouble in paradise. Now the next one is actually going to show us a little bit more of the house. And you, I mean, you can see right away. So here is that door. Now, guys, can you tell me, does that look like that would be quiet? I'm just saying, look at this place. Okay. And the yard is fenced in. But let's go ahead and listen.
A quiet rural property in the sticks of northeastern Nova Scotia in Pictou County. The parents say the kids were allegedly playing and then poof, they're gone, vanished into thin air. And the only clue left behind is a boot print on the edge of the property. Aerial photos, a mysterious dispatch call, substances found in the home, a deleted Facebook video, and whispers about who's really living on this property have the internet buzzing. Sleuths are piecing it together, and the details are wild. The parents, Malaya Brooks Murray, and stepdad, Daniel Martell, say they were in their bedroom tending to their 18th-month-old when their girl, Lily, age 6, and boy, Jack, age 4, slipped out a back door so silent, it's like it was greased with butter. They thought they heard the kids playing, with Daniel Martell even saying he saw Lily poking her head in and out of their room. But when the house went eerily quiet, that's when they knew something was wrong. So let's unpack the strange details that just emerged. These aerial photos are raising some serious eyebrows.
Guys, look, the missing kids from Nova Scotia, Lily and Jack Sullivan, aerial photos of the home have been released. And tell me what you notice. The mom and stepdad are saying the kids went out the sliding door to play out in the back and either wandered off or got abducted possibly. But look, the backyard is fenced in. They also said the sliding door is really quiet when it opened, so they didn't hear it, but it doesn't look like it would be quiet to me. Here's another photo that shows the front of the house, so you can see the back is entirely fenced in. And I highly doubt a 4-year-old and 6-year-old child would have climbed over the fence to wander off. Now you see the camper there. Apparently one of their brothers lives in it. And you can see it doesn't even have a roof. It just has a tarp on the top. Look at this. There's garbage and junk all over the place. The red flags were already popping up with all of their contradictions and weird interviews. But in my opinion, this might be one of the biggest red flags yet.
Yeah, and I would have to agree with that. I really hope the police opened that sliding door to see if it really does not make any noise. The photos show a cramped.
I'm sure that they have opened it. I'm sure that they have opened it. But look at this place, guys. Now, I do disagree with that woman. If little kids are determined, they'll get out. Okay? That's my opinion. If they're determined, they will get out. Now, my question is, did this brother see them? Right? Or were they really gone earlier in the week? Like we're all starting to wonder, right? I suspect that Child Protection Services has her stay with the mom so the baby has proper supervision. Yeah, possible neglect charges coming. That's kind of what I see happening as well. Neglect, right? And I watched a news report. Has Walls vibes, yeah. Yeah, definitely has Walls vibes. But I watched a news report that said they hadn't brought in the cadaver dogs, that now that they are scaling back the search, the ground search, they're going to be doing other things like bringing in the cadaver dogs, you know. My question is why? I mean, I guess they're going to go look, but why do police always go with the kids wandering away first and do the big search before they ever do a proper search of the home? Wouldn't you think, I mean, seriously, do your walking search, yes, but wouldn't you think that you would make the parents leave the home, make it a crime scene, and go through it with a fine-tooth comb so you can you know, make sure that your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, you're ruling anything out? Why don't they do that? Right? That's my question. And that's true. Little kids in rural areas like that are usually found if they just walk off, which is fine. Like I said, do that. But I honestly think that they should treat the home as a crime scene. Even if they don't do anything with it right away, right? I think they should make the parents leave, go to relatives or somebody's, and keep the home on, as a crime scene. That's what I think. Yeah. Yeah. I was a climber at fall. Exactly. I mean, we see, if you watch Facebook Reels, right? You'll see pictures of kids climbing over gates and all kinds of stuff. Kids are climbers, right? So that's why I disagree with that woman that was on just a little bit ago. Because a fence isn't going to keep you out, right? I'm just kind of curious. I can't make that bigger, but I was trying, but it didn't work. I wanted to see what kind of exactly the fence was, but your mom had a harness and a rope on you. When my kids were little, I used to see people that had their kids on leashes like harness, and that just disgusted me. It really did. And don't get me wrong, my little one, I had to have her hand all the time because she would have been off and gone. Boom. But you're a parent. You do what's necessary to keep them safe. Statistically, I think it's more likely the kid wandered off, but nowadays, who knows if that's, well, yeah. Yeah. That is why the cops look for them first. Yeah, I mean, statistics are probably the reason why. You know, I think that with so many things happening like this nowadays, they're missing valuable time by not making the house a crime scene. That's my opinion. It probably has to do with money for whatever reason. I suspect that criminal investigation team was going through the home while the searchers were looking. Could be. And they checked that door, to see if it was quiet. Yeah, I knew what you meant, Katie. No worries. I knew what you meant. You were talking statistics and not necessarily that these kids walked off. I mean, I've been looking at this stuff all day. And I don't think I've ever come to a conclusion that quickly. But I really am starting to believe that these kids didn't walk off as well. I don't know if I'm 100% there yet, but I'm starting to lean in that direction. Yes, my mom was not liked much. Yeah. And and it was in the 80s when I saw it, and these were actual harnesses and for children, right? But it disgusted me. I was like, okay, be a mother. Be a mother. Yeah. The world isn't what it used to be. And I have never, I don't know if it's just because of social media that we hear it more now, but I have never seen so many parents who are irresponsible and neglectful and, probably guilty of, I'm not saying these parents are yet, but of harming their children. It just, or at the very least of doing something with them. Let's continue on. Well,
is a boot print.
And I highly doubt a 4-year-old and 6-year-old child would have climbed over the fence to wander off. Now you see the camper there. Apparently one of their brothers lives in it. And you can see it doesn't even have a roof. It just has a tarp on the top. Look at this. There's garbage and junk all over the place. The red flags were already popping up with all of their contradictions and weird interviews. But in my opinion, this might be one of the biggest red flags yet.
Yeah, and I would have to agree with that. I really hope the police opened that sliding door to see if it really does not make any noise. The photos show a cramped, cluttered property, and people are saying there's no way.
think about all the stuff that a 4 and a 6-year-old could get hurt on out here. Rusty stuff, nails probably. I mean, think of all the things. Is that what happened? I mean, guys, I don't know. Is that what happened? It would kind of be ironic if both of them got hurt by something, but I'm just saying, look at that mess. It wouldn't be so far-fetched. And what is this here? That's another thing. Is there like a well on the property that they could have fallen into? I mean, I know the police have searched, but I don't know.
way two kids could slip out that back door without somebody noticing. The images are circling online, and the top comment doesn't hold back, writing, "The place looks like a dump. It doesn't look like it's safe for a child to be living there." Personally, I echo the sentiments of the commenters. It does look like a trap house filled with substances. Children should not be around. A neighbor wrote that, quote, "They live 500 feet away from me, eh? I didn't even know kids lived there. I thought it was a rug house. Cars are always coming and going," end quote. They recall a day, maybe Wednesday or Thursday, their memory is a bit fuzzy, when the driveway was packed. Cars even spilling onto the main road at around 2 p.m. They thought they're probably in there sharing a pipe or whatever. Then, as you know, Friday hits and Lily and Jack disappear. Another source claims, quote, "The mother has already been rug tested and removed from the home. RCMP and Department of Community Services and Child Protective Services strongly recommend that she leave the dwelling. Rug paraphernalia was located inside the home along with one of the vehicles," end quote. The last day Lily and Jack were at school was on Tuesday. Wednesday was a no school day, and Thursday and Friday, Lily had a cough and both of them stayed home. Has anybody seen them since Tuesday? I mean, could the parents have been buying time to clean up their story after what went down at this party? Now, the mother's Facebook video is the only one she posted on her Facebook before she deleted her whole account after her children went missing.
Happy birthday to you.
This is Lily, guys.
Birthday to you.
Lily, stop, honey.
Blow it, go.
Yay!
Happy birthday! Say happy birthday.
In earlier interviews, Malaya Brooks Murray, the mother, mentions both kids are on the spectrum. And you can clearly hear Lily screaming in this video. A commenter wrote, "Kids with sensory issues surely wouldn't be out in the woods for long before they got uncomfortable and wanted to come home. Wet feet, noises, wind, dirt, they'd hate it." So it's hard to picture Lily and Jack silently trekking through the wilderness undetected. And now for the dispatch call, which I think pokes holes in the parents' story. The mother says she only heard Lily and Jack around the house, but the stepdad swears he saw Lily, age 6, popping her head in and out of their bedroom while he was with his wife, tending to their 18-month-old baby. After they stopped hearing their children in the home, they realized that their children actually disappeared. That's when the 911 call went out at 10 a.m. But the dispatch says the kids were last seen at 8 a.m., which is a conflicting report.
In the bedroom, we called this morning, and they haven't been seen since then. I need to get a good statement and figure stuff out.
The dispatcher said that he was told they were last seen at 8 a.m. So the stepdad told Global News on May 7th that he estimates it took them up to 20 minutes to notice the two children were gone Friday morning. So that's around 9:40 a.m. because they said that they called the police at 10 a.m. So there's about an hour and 40 minutes discrepancy between the two reports. The stepdad was brought back in for questioning. The RCMP is scaling back the search, saying there's a low chance Lily and Jack are still with us.
Look at this statement right here.
The major crime units.
"My story has been consistent. When you tell the truth, it's always consistent," said Mr. Martel. Guys, why would he say that? Oh. Do these people do something with their children and then they go online and watch Mr. Yummy or whoever to discover, oh, truthful people are always consistent, so we need to get our story and we need to stick with it? Why would he say that? Yeah, Noni, right? Exactly. Not again. And now I can understand why everybody is talking about this case. You think they got into the parents' drugs and that's why they went quiet? Wouldn't surprise me. So then they tried to hide them. Well, according to the news conference, they said that they hadn't brought in cadaver dogs yet. So I think that's going to be next. But can you believe that? My story has been consistent. When you tell the truth, it's always consistent, said Mr. Martell. Wow. And an innocent parent would say that about their statements to Ellie? Or would not? Would not say that? Yeah. Because they're not trying to, oh, here we go, guys, right? Here we go. They're not trying to make themselves look like good parents or people, look like good people. Here we go. My story has been consistent. When you tell the truth, it's always trying to make himself look good. Story. How about the account of what happened, right? Oh. Guys, it's horrific that we're having to look at this again, right? My heart breaks for these kids. We have Summer, we have Sebastian, we have Lily and Jack, right? And I know thousands more, right? What the heck is going on? What the heck is going on? Well, I hope Canada does a better job of convictions than what we're seeing in Sumner County. That's all I've got to say about that right now. Let's continue on.
Are now involved, calling it suspicious, but it wouldn't comment on if there's foul play. Cadaver dogs might be next. The stepdad told the Globe and Mail, "My story has been consistent. When you tell the truth, it's always consistent," end quote. Prior to this questioning, tensions flared when Malaya Brooks Murray and her mother, Cindy Murray, confronted Daniel Martell outside their home, holding him responsible for the children's disappearance. Malaya has since left Lansdowne Station to stay with her mother in another part of the province and has blocked Martell on social media. Sleuths, though, are side-eyeing a scratch on the stepdad's face in his recent interviews. Then there's the stepdad's brother, either Justin or Ralph Martell. It's still not been confirmed, but the brother is living on the property in this trailer with his mother. And here is the stepdad's brother, Justin, searching for the children on an ATV and looks surprisingly relaxed. Like, this caught some sleuths off guard. Like, why is he just kicking back and relaxing when those children are missing? And sleuths have discovered that one of his brothers, who may be the one living in the trailer, we don't know yet, Ralph, has a rap sheet. So in 2023, the RCMPs got a warrant out for him over some messy relationship drama, and the charges are pretty severe. Sleuths have also dug up that a known predator who is high risk was recently released just 10 minutes away from their property. And get this, the dispatch call mentioned a strange bald guy around 50 years old with a mustache lurking nearby, and someone dialed 911 over this suspicious character.
So you're calling 911 from a Karen Conoco. Time delay about 5 minutes. She was reporting just driving past a black Honda CRV. Nova Scotia marker Golf Mike Fox 320 that left the outdoor recreational park close to the residence. It is permanently closed. Complaint is unsure if related, but it felt a bit strange to her. Driver was a white male around 50 years old, bald with a mustache.
So the cops investigated this 911 call of this suspicious person, and it was just brushed off.
Black SUV just north of the residence. And on the left side of the road does not appear to be a CRV, but it is a black SUV. And it didn't run it, but there was nobody in it.
Everything was 10-4, nothing suspicious about it.
So was this a mistake? Maybe, because it's got people wondering if that call deserves a second look in connection to Lily and Jack's mysterious disappearance. So what do we have? A single boot print at the property's edge is the only clue. The stepdad says it was 2, but the RCMP is sticking to 1. And they're not even sure if it's Lily's or Jack's. The parents are pushing an abduction angle, saying their kids are super friendly with strangers. So I can't help but wonder, was someone at that packed Wednesday or Thursday party involved? Should that 911 call about that creepy guy have been dismissed? What do you think? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe by hitting my face here. Bye, guys.
Wow, huh? It So I think the children were unalived early in the week and they are buried close to the home. Yeah. I mean, actually, they could be anywhere, right? They had enough time to drive away. But one of the things that they said was that they're going to be doing specific searches now. And that tells me they're going to go back, I think, with cadaver dogs. This is my opinion, my guess. And they're going to be looking for loose dirt, that kind of thing. Where when they first went out, they were just looking for kids, right? They're probably not eyes peeled for loose dirt, that kind of stuff, when they first went searching. So now they're really going to be combing for deceased children buried somewhere, probably, right? Yeah, that thought crossed my mind too. Maybe the parents wanted drugs and so sold the kids for drugs. You know, I mean, guys, nothing would surprise me anymore with this kind of stuff. Nothing. Yeah. At this point, anything is a possibility, except them just walking off alone. Yeah. You know, the problem, you know, I think they would have found them with the search that they did. They did detailed grid searches, guys. So if they really did walk away, I'm sure they would have found them. So, you know, you can say because of the rain, there was no tracks, that kind of thing. There's only the one footprint, blah, blah, right? Who knows when that footprint was from? I mean, if they both had those boots, that boot print could have been, who knows, right? The kids would be worth more to a trafficker than to do away with them. Yeah. Yeah. You know, that'd be something to check into, the parents' financials, right? When they searched, did they come across a bunch of money? Was there money put into their bank account? I mean, you know, it looks like they could have used it. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know. Here is the newscast, the most recent one.
Nova Scotia's RCMP has scaled back its week-long investigation for 2 missing children.
We're transitioning from a full-scale search to searches of more specific spaces that have already been searched by our teams. We're not packing up, and we're not giving up. Our investigation is broad, and it won't end until we know where Lily and Jack are and can bring them home.
6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan were reported missing on Friday, May 2nd. The children's mother and stepfather believe the two either wandered from their home in Lansdowne Station in Nova Scotia. Helicopters, drones, and tracking dogs have been used in the search, but no signs of the children have been found. So to explain more about this ongoing investigation, I'm joined this morning by Chris Lewis. He's CTV's public safety analyst and former OPP commissioner. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Anne-Marie.
There's so many questions still around both this investigation and this mystery around what happened to these two young children. Yesterday, the RCMP announcing they've scaled back their search. They said they're going to be circling back on areas that have been looked at before. So what does that tell you, this move signal at this stage of the investigation?
Well, yeah, thanks for having me, Anne-Marie. There's a couple of things at play here. Either the police know more than we do, which is quite likely, particularly from an investigative perspective, things they're not saying. It was very, very clear yesterday in the press conference that the staff sergeant in charge of the investigative side of this said just things he couldn't say. At the same time, it's very, very intense and very thick area that they're searching, very difficult to traverse, even for trained adults, let alone children. So they've obviously made the decision that they don't believe the kids have got further than their perimeter, the area they've already searched. So they want to go back and research it. And he also specifically said there's areas that they want to revisit. Mm-hmm. So why is that? It's disturbing to me that they think the children may not be alive, but the RCMP are really good at this, big searches and investigations, and so they know something we don't, and we have to trust them that hopefully these kids will be found alive, and they'll, if possible, they will do so.
Is it possible one of the areas they're going to go back and research is the children's home and the property surrounding?
It could well be. It could be specific areas in that turf that maybe there's water, culverts and things like that. I don't know. I'm only guessing here. But they're pretty careful to how they worded it all, and which makes me think, once again, from an investigative perspective, they know something we don't, which is almost always the case. But the investigation, the search always happen in parallel. Mm-hmm. But in this case, it appears that it seems to be narrowing down to a point that we're going to know something soon, and fingers crossed it's good news, but they're not holding out a whole pile of hope at this point, unfortunately.
It's interesting that your experience and instinct tell you that they're narrowing in on something soon. One thing else that stood out was that major crimes is still part of this investigation. They were at that press conference on Wednesday. What does that say, that this is a search and rescue / search recovery, but also that major crimes is involved?
Well, major crimes would always be involved with missing children, because either they're lost, which is certainly what they've been hoping to be the case, and then find them alive, or they've met with foul play in some way. And there's a couple of different avenues that could go, either a stranger abduction or someone that is known to them. And so major crime would always be following that up until they really have proof one way or another as to what's happened to these kids. So that's not uncommon at all.
During that press conference yesterday, police said that the likelihood of the children being alive was very low. That stood out to me, and you mentioned it as well. When One officer was asked at how they arrived at that conclusion, he only offered scientific methods. What does that mean?
Well, based on probabilities, previous searches, a lot of data that's been gathered over the years, and just experience of these searchers and the search masters, they made a determination that they don't think these kids could have got out of where they are. So that being the case, and have the fact they've been all through there, and some weather issues, although the weather's not all that bad, they've determined there's no way that they could be alive in their view, which is very sad. But at the same time, I've seen searchers where adults have been missing for weeks in similar weather and found alive. So you can never say never. And the fact that they're leaning that way causes me even more concern.
One last question for you. The parents say they believe the children were abducted. Police say they don't have any evidence to suggest that. So then what options are left?
Well, why are the parents saying that? It would be the first question from the investigators. What makes you believe that? Because if they are, then the police want to know that. The stepfather said very clearly he's been offered he offered to have polygraphs, and he's given them everything. So there's quite an investigation going on around the family. I'm not suggesting there's anything untoward there, but police are obviously following that part of it very closely, and hopefully they'll come up with something soon. This is just a tragedy extraordinaire.
Heartbreak for the family and the community and everyone involved. Chris Lewis, CTV's public safety analyst and former OPP commissioner. Thank you for your time and your expertise this morning.
Thank you, Anne Marie.
So that's interesting. Okay. So the boyfriend worked at a local sawmill and recently had his hours cut back. So money was needed. Yeah. Did the parents pay off a debt somewhere, like a title loan kind of place? Canada seems to be more private with releasing information. I don't know. Sumner County hasn't released any information, so I don't think so. But I mean, I don't know. Or could it just be that we're not hearing all the gossip because it is Canada versus, I mean, we've heard a lot of stuff from, if you think about it, like Sumner County with the Sebastian case, they have hardly talked at all, right? And they've had 2 press releases since this happened. Oh, gotcha. That's awesome. But so Ginger said, yes, they are. Nothing is usually released until a conviction has occurred. Gotcha. That's interesting. That is very interesting. So, I've got one other 9-minute video to look at. I haven't watched it, but it is our favorite Mr. Yummy looking at Daniel Martel's interview. So I thought it'd be interesting to watch this one together really quickly and see what he has to say about her partner, right?
If you have anything, come out as fast as possible and get it to any detachment or any police service that you have available to get to talk to. And Jack just absolutely loves bugs, dinosaurs, anything like that. But Lily loves girly things, but she also loves doing everything with Jack, bugs. They're like best friends, not just brother and sister.
That's Daniel Martel, and I think he knows what happened to his missing stepchildren. It's not just because he's already talking about one of them in the past tense. So in today's video, let's watch his interview with the Canadian press and count the red flags. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit subscribe. For early access, exclusives, and other cool perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. If you're not familiar with this case, don't worry, it's brand new, but it is developing quickly. So before we grab our deception decks and start analyzing Daniel, here's a quick recap.
6-year-old Lily Sullivan and her brother, 4-year-old Jack Sullivan, are still missing in this rural area of northeastern Nova Scotia. The RCMP is the lead agency here, along with EHS, hundreds of search and rescue crews from Halifax to Cape Breton. During the daytime, there are anywhere from 100 to 140 search and rescue crews in the woods. A spokesperson for the Chignecto Central Regional Center for Education tells us the 2 children were students at Salt Springs Elementary School. Their stepdad told us they'd both been out sick all week before disappearing on Friday. The school has additional support staff on site at Salt Springs if anyone needs that support. Meanwhile, the search will continue into the night here in the Lansdowne area of Pictou County for young Jack and Lily Sullivan.
Those are the cliff notes, and as you can already see, the red flags are flying. We have 2 preschoolers reported missing from their home in rural Canada on Friday, but they haven't been to school for the entire week. We have a non-biological male, Daniel, in the house with small children, which is heavily correlated with child abuse. And we have a mother who didn't exactly give me the warm and fuzzies when I analyzed her in my last video. I won't rehash my analysis of her. I'll link that video at the end. But here's a quick clip just so you can get a gist of it before we get to Daniel.
And I want them home. What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us, and I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet. And we get up, and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, do you hear the kids? And he says, no. And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call.
I can see why so many of my subscribers commented for me to analyze this case, because we're about to have a royal flush of deception deck cards here. But beyond the red flags in the deception deck, I don't like some of the other things she's doing here. For instance, she's setting up her and her boyfriend's alibi by telling us that they must have been sleeping at the time. But if she was sleeping, how could she possibly know that he was also sleeping? Couldn't he have been awake and done something to them while she was passed out? She never seems to consider that as an option at all. And this lack of curiosity or suspicion about a non-biologically related father in the household with their children could be explained a lot of ways, but one of those ways could be that she actually knows what happened, so she's not curious about what he may have done. Obviously, there's a lot more to that video, and I'll link it at the end, as I said, so you can watch it next. But for our purposes right now, that's the important part, that she didn't suspect him, even though they were both sleeping. And as we listen to him right now, we'll consider it equally suspicious if he's not at least a little bit curious about her. All right, without further ado, let's listen.
I know they took their boots. That's pink boots for Lily, blue boots for Jack with dinosaurs on them. Lily had her backpack with white, and it was white, strawberries on it. I imagine now if they're in the woods that it'd be probably brown, but I don't see them carrying their backpack. I don't see them keeping a pull-up on for that long after it got soaked from the very first day. We only found the 2 boot tracks outside of the house.
Whereabouts?
Right beside the house, probably 10 feet away from the backyard.
In the backyard, okay.
Nothing new other than the helicopters are still in the air, and they had dogs. They took around the dogs today, and as of last night, they had 8 more drones going up in infrared. I urge the public to come out if you have anything, come out as fast as possible and get it to any detachment or any police service that you have available to get to talk to.
We've analyzed dozens of interviews of parents of missing children. And over the course of making those videos, I've recognized that innocent parents tend to do 7 things when they have the opportunity to get on TV or talk to an audience. I call it my missing child presser interview checklist, and I haven't had to update it ever since I made it almost 2 years ago. And that's because it's based on human nature, not the latest best practices in policing or, advocacy groups for parents of missing children. For instance, parents of missing children, if they're innocent, if they actually have no idea what happened to their kid, talk about their kid in the present tense. And that's because it's very hard to accept the death of a loved one unless you have proof of it. Secondly, we can expect them to be cooperative. So if the police or the media are asking them questions, they answer fully and candidly, whereas guilty parents typically choose their words more carefully, and they're usually more vague and reticent. Third, innocent parents are inconclusive about what happened if there's no evidence to suggest one scenario over another. In this case, if they actually found 2 boot tracks showing the kids walked into the woods, there's no way to say for sure that they must have been kidnapped or that an animal dragged them off or any other scenario. They should be considering all possibilities. And that brings me to the 4th item on the checklist. If all possibilities are open, a kidnapping is also open. So typically, innocent parents look into camera and beg any kidnappers or anyone who might have their kid to please return them. Similarly, if the kid is old enough to watch TV themselves or Google themselves on a computer, they might look into camera and address the kid directly as well. Jack and Lily, being 4 and 6 years old, are probably too young for that, so I wouldn't expect Daniel to do that. Finally, we can expect innocent parents of missing children to directly ask the audience watching on TV for help, because that's the only point of doing the interview, to get help, to get information out there. If they do anything other than that, like try to push a narrative or try to construct their own alibi, we need to be suspect about that. And finally, there's a call to action, whether it's call 911 or some special tip line number that they've set up with the FBI, or in this case, whatever the Canadian equivalent is. And based on this short clip of him, he's already doing better than the kid's biological mother. He's asked for help. He's inconclusive about what happened, even though he seems to have some reason to heavily suspect that they are in the woods. That said, he's not out of the woods yet because he hasn't addressed any potential kidnappers. And as I showed in the intro, he spoke about one of the kids in the past tense. That's coming up along with some other red flags. So let's keep listening.
I urge the public to come out if you have anything, come out as fast as possible and get it to any detachment or any police service that you have available to get to talk to. And Jack just absolutely loves bugs, dinosaurs, anything like that. But Lily loves girly things, but she also loves doing everything with Jack. Bugs, they're like best friends, not just brother and sister.
Lily loved. That's past tense about a kid who's only been missing for 4 days at the time of this interview. And this is such a reliable indicator of guilty knowledge that it's actually taught to police, and it's a card in the deception deck. My 52 favorite rules for spotting lies and manipulation. The card's on your screen now, but you probably already knew this rule of statement analysis and the famous example of Susan Smith. It's almost a meme at this point because it's so reliable. So does this mean that Daniel killed Lily, or that he knows she's dead for a fact? Of course not, but it's one red flag among many red flags that we've seen in these two parents. And as I said at the end of my last video, my theory right now is that the kids wandered off because the parents were getting high or getting drunk or just being generally neglectful. So when they lie to us now about what happened, it's because they have attendant guilt, not necessarily that they committed some sort of first-degree murder. Although, to be fair, when I said that in that last video, I didn't know that the kids have been missing from school for an entire week. And I'm still holding out hope for the best, but this is reminding me a lot of the Summer Wells case, which I'll link on the end card so you can see for yourself why. If you want to continue this series, let me know by liking, commenting, and sharing. Until next time, stay true.
Okay. What do you think, guys? What do you think? Yeah, no tears. Mr. Yummy, yes. Stephen Stern's flashbacks. So yeah, I don't think sleeping is an alibi either. It's a sign of neglect, in my opinion, right? You know, I don't know how long he's been in their lives. I mean, I guess I don't know enough about their relationship together to be able to say that he genuinely cared about the kids, but he was talking about them in past tense in the couple of videos that I did see of him. So that does make you wonder, right? Yeah, I didn't see any tears either, and yeah. Well, exactly, K9. You know, if the kids are waking up, they're 6 and 4. You should be up too. Right? You know, even if it's a matter of you turn the TV on, you turn on cartoons, and you're laying on the couch watching them, you know, something, but in the same room with them so that you can see what they're doing. It's interesting that the mom and grandma are pointing the finger at the boyfriend. Yeah, no, there's a lot more. I haven't gotten into the grandma yet. So yeah. But you know, there is a video out there that Mr. Yummy did on mom, and she's guilty knowledge, guys. So yeah. Yep, Katie. So yes, he did a short video on mom. And so I really think that it sounds as though there's guilty knowledge on both parts. And it sounds like I don't remember if Did Mom talk about them in past tense? I don't remember. But he definitely is. So, and it really bothers me about his name because I keep wanting to say Dan Markel. And that's, yeah, no. Dan Markel is a victim. Dan Martell is a partner, Mom's partner, right? So, yeah. She did. She taught. Yeah, I thought she did, but I couldn't remember. And like I said, I've been kind of watching this all day and trying to figure out which pieces to use. You know, which bits and pieces to use. And I kind of wanted to end with Mr. Yummy because we all like him, right? But he made that kind of short and sweet. But of course, that interview wasn't very long either. So. Yeah. Why were the doors not secure when you have little ones in the home? Exactly. You know, when the mom first started talking, I closed my eyes and I swear she sounded just like KP up to a point. Yeah. So are these parents now? These parents could have had days to be looking at the internet and figuring out their stories. But I honestly think that Mom will crack first. Because she's already pointing the finger at him. So, if somebody's going to talk, I think it's going to be her. He is. He really is. So, he likes those views. He likes those views. So, yeah. Clickbait. It's clickbait. You know, if you want to see more, you have to go and like his video and comment, which I did after the mom video. He said, if you want to see me, you know, do a video on Mom's partner, Dan Martell, like and comment on this video, which I did. I said, yes, I liked it. And then I said, yes, please, you know, and then that came out just before we went live today. So I thought, okay, I'll show it. Well, first it was members only. He does his things members only, but not for very long. And then it's released to the public. So, which is good. But yeah. So I'm sure he'll do more because people will go and like it. But this case is another disturbing case, and it's like, can't we have a case that's just a run of the mill, just a run of the mill missing case where they go out in the woods and they find the child and all is well and all's right in the world? I mean, can't we? Please. Oh man. You know, but that drama sells, guys. Drama sells, right? I'm just saying, it's, you know. Yes, you did send me a happy one. uh, yeah. I try to sneak in happy ones on my morning clips once in a while, but it's difficult to find them. It's really difficult to find them. There's not that many out there. But why is there just always so much garbage in these cases that you just want to take these parents and shake them and say, what the heck's the matter with you? You know? I mean, first of all, clean up your doggone yard. You know how many things your kids could get hurt with? I mean, seriously. Clean up the doggone yard. Let's see if I can show that picture. So hang on just a second. Right there. Clean up the doggone yard. I can't. I mean, I don't think I want to know. As bad as the wells, evidently. You know, mother's lucky she hasn't lost her child. Honestly. Because that's what happened with the wells. They lost their boys. Right? But I mean, seriously, look at that. It needs to be cleaned up. These two parents watched the right of the wrong parents. So seriously, we have already thought that Chris and Katie kind of watched what happened in the Wells case. And Chris has commented about the Wells case many times now. So he is very well aware of what went on in that case. Guys, if you have a guilty parent, are they going and patterning themselves after, figuring out, okay, well, they didn't get caught. What did they do? And so they research and figure it out. Did these parents do the same thing? Yeah, I'd be scared for my 4 and 6-year-old to be loose in that yard. You know, when she said they're the type of kids who know that we have to be outside with them. Well, yeah, I would sincerely hope so. Because when I look at that yard, all I can honestly, I mean, look at this the slide here. What's all this? How do they even get up to get into the slide? What is all this junk? I'm seriously. Now, what is this right here? Is this a burn barrel? Right out in the backyard for the kids to touch if it's hot? You know, you got loose wood here. Are there nails in it? You know, this is rusty. Scrape themselves up against that. I'm just saying. I mean, heck, the brothers area looks cleaner than the yard for the kids. It's in the secret script book, Granny. Yeah, there's got to be something going on because they're all going by it. They are. I mean, seriously, look at this guy's area looks much cleaner than the area for the kids. I don't know. To my knowledge, I don't think there's been any Well, religion brought up, but there is, Ginger could probably explain that better. The mother is Indian, is that right, Ginger? Oh, part of a tribe or something, I believe. And so if that's the case, they may have their own beliefs for that part of things, but no, it's not like a cult or any cult or anything. Yeah, the mom is from the Mi'kmaq tribe, so just whatever the tribal beliefs are, which usually are not out there or anything like that. Um, I don't know. This was, and then the fact that there were a lot of cars there, was it Wednesday and Thursday, which is kind of an odd time to be having a party, middle of the week. Oh, are we celebrating hump day? I mean, what's going on? And you have 3 little kids. The oldest is 6. And you're going to have people over in the middle of the week. And allegedly the kids are sick. And there were so many cars that they spilled out onto the main road. I don't know. I don't know. My heart just breaks for these kids, though. They really do. Break for these kids. Which brings me to my grannyism for today. Neglect is a major reason for some of the most painful experiences we suffer in life. Some are saying the mom has a bad habit of picking abusive men, allegedly. Ugh. Love your sayings, Noni. Oh, Lordy mercy, I watched a show about the Oakland's mystery. I've heard more than I want to know about the big boss. Oh, my goodness. Well, that's probably a story for another time, Noni. But seriously, neglect is a major reason for some of the most painful experiences we suffer in life, and neglect toward children is the biggest, and this is one of the most recent ones, is parents on their phones and ignoring their children, right? It just, another case that everybody's glomming onto, but I sincerely hope that Canada is better about conviction than Sumner County is. Just gonna, just telling it like it is. Yeah. Abusive men. Wash, rinse, repeat. Yeah, it's sad, it's angering, my heart breaks for these kids because it's our kids that are suffering, right? It's our kids that are suffering because of this, and it's wrong. They shouldn't have to be suffering or disappearing or being unalived or whatever the heck is happening to these kids. Trafficked, right? Abused, essayed, you know? You know, here's what I have to say about that, Canine. Early on in Sebastian's case, I remember us talking in chat, and we all felt like something was going to happen any minute. Do you remember that? That's why I'm saying this is a different country. So I'm sincerely hoping that the RCMP is much better than America's judicial system. You know, corruption can be anywhere. We know that, right? We know that. But we've seen it big time, especially in the southern part of the United States. We really witnessed it. It's a good point, Noni. Even if it's neglect of oneself when you know you need help. Yeah. Yep. Setting our own needs aside, neglecting ourselves. I agree. Hello, Cecilia. Sorry I am late. All stressed out, broke my toe, and I am under flood watch. My house floods. Oh my goodness. Well, Lord, keep that water away from her. Wow. Broken toes hurt, and there's nothing you can do for them. I'm so sorry that happened to you, but we're going to pray that, keep you in our prayers, that flooding stays away from you. Yeah. Canada isn't Tennessee, I hope, right? But seriously, every time we've come into these cases, I mean, I don't know how it was with the Summer Wells case because I wasn't there. I'm just starting to get into it, and we will talk about that as well. But I remember in the Sebastian Rogers case that we, in the beginning, thought, oh, we're going to hear something really soon. Even in the Gabby Petito case, I had that feeling, right? And, days went on and, weeks. And then her body was found, right? But, I mean, in Gabby's case, thank God for some van lifers who happened to look through their, videos and saw the van. That broke everything open right there. Because who knows when or if Gabby would have been found if it had not been for that person, right? And $500,000 evidently isn't enough for anybody to talk about Summer or Sebastian, which blows my mind. And I get there's hoops that they have to go through to get the reward, blah, blah, blah. Isn't worth it to some people, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. What about whatever happened to doing the right thing if you know something, right? Whatever happened to I know something and I'm going to do what's right for this child? Whatever happened to that, right? Forget the money. Whatever happened to I'm going to do the right thing for this child? They say Canada doesn't screw around. They are great law enforcement people. And Ginger says they do take child abuse seriously. Yep, we've been thinking about that in the Sebastian case for 15 months almost. I mean, I know like with the Sebastian's case, I tried to set a time like, okay, we're going to know something by his birthday. I'm going to believe for that. I'm going to pray and believe for that. Well, okay, birthday came and went. We all cried with Seth, right? We cried with him. Then it was like, okay, Christmas. Okay, New Year. After that, I stopped setting goals, which is sad, right? It's really sad. I haven't stopped praying for him. Don't get me wrong. Not at all. But it's just sad that, nothing's happening in our timing, right? Everything is in God's time. We have to believe that or else we go crazy. Yeah, K9. I have to admit, I kind of have stopped looking for that. I used to every morning when I'd get up, get my coffee, and turn on my computer, I'd be looking for some news of Sebastian, right? And I honestly, not that I'm not looking for news, I am, but not specifically to see if he's been found like I used to. That's sad. Yeah, exactly. We still pray and hope, but we have to. I don't think the adults involved care. I think it'll be one of the adults' kids who will tell somebody because it's a heavy burden for a young person to carry. Yeah, the adults are already cold-hearted. I agree with you. Oh, Cecilia, I believe they're going to find him. I do believe that. Like I said, it's just not in our timing. We want it yesterday, right? We want, because we're a society that wants everything fast. We've gotten used to fast food, fast everything, right? And we want everything fast. And it's just, to me, it's obvious that somebody don't want him found. Exactly. They've done everything that they could to deter the search and search people and you name it. You had to take a break. You were consumed by it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. It gets to me. It does. It's draining, right? Even today, that's all I've been kind of looking at is this case. And it's like, oh my gosh, just, I think what's hard about it is that, we don't know these kids. We don't know these people. We don't know anything, but, it's the fact that there's kids missing, right? And that shouldn't be. Kids belong in a decent home. And it doesn't have to be a rich home. Guys, a trailer is fine if it's clean. That backyard is fine. It's fenced in if it's cleaned up. And there's nothing in that backyard that could harm children. But there's things all over that backyard that could harm children, right? Not everybody has money. I get that. They don't have to be rich. They just have to love and take care of their children. Yeah, and that's usually when it happens. When least expected that we get some of the biggest questions answered. Yeah. Kids just don't go poof. Right. Exactly, Cecilia. A loving home. A loving home, clean home. It can be cluttered. I don't know of anybody who raised kids that didn't have a house cluttered with toys. I'm serious. Some weird guy driving up and down your street really slow. That's scary. Yeah. Look cold and distant in that birthday. Well, and I noticed when I showed this video, I don't know if you, when I saw the video earlier, they must have toned down Lily screaming in this video because the screaming was so loud in the video that I did. I mean, it actually kind of, my ears are very sensitive about that, you know, with the hearing loss. So that kind of tone just goes right through me. And he didn't even seem fazed by it or screaming, which I was like, isn't somebody going to say something to this kid? You know, I mean, you can even see her hands just closed and clenched, right? And I'm like, what the heck? Is somebody going to say something to this kid that's screaming? Yeah, that's normal. Toys all over the house is normal. Most of us have that. Yeah, I'm not saying that the house, you know, that they live in should be spotless, but it should be safe, right? It should be safe, in my opinion. In my opinion. Yeah, backpacks, shoes, toys, candy wrappers get dropped on their way to the trash can. We've heck, yeah, I couldn't handle it. Yeah. Your son has to take his hearing aid out. Yep. Well, I mean, I guess actually if it was somebody living near me, that wouldn't matter. Because I don't have a hearing aid in during the day. I just have my earbuds so that I can listen to you know, videos and stuff. But I don't have my hearing aid in unless Brenda's home and I go downstairs to see her. Then I put my hearing aid in because otherwise I can't hear her. And she has to yell. And yeah, so I wouldn't be able to hear a kid next door that was a screamer. I wouldn't be able to hear it. Unless I had my hearing aid in and went outside, then I'd probably hear it. So it probably wouldn't bother me. So yeah. I mean that house, that backyard, all kinds of trouble I saw, you know. All I could think of is rusty nails and yeah, canine. I'm the same way. It it pronounces everything. You know, every little sound is just yeah. It's very sensitive to sound, yeah. You worked in a daycare with 13 toddlers. You're immune to screaming kids. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't do it. Not nowadays anyway, not with hearing aids. Not with hearing aids. But all right, guys, so that's all I have for today. Another disturbing case. A lot of similarities, which is really rather scary. And they make you wonder if the parents are not listening to Mike DeMann or Mr. Yummy or somebody in preparation for what they're going to say. It's or the secret script that K9's talking about. But yeah, another sad case, but I hope that when you hear law enforcement say that they're not holding out for, that they don't believe these kids are alive anymore, that breaks my heart. Because I don't think that they would say that, right? K9, I need to clean mine too, so don't feel bad. But yeah, I mean, I guess I don't hold out hope that these kids are alive, because law enforcement has already come out and said they don't think they are. But I mean, I hope we get justice, some kind of closure, right? So, all right, guys, thank you so much for being here. Please hit the like button on your way out. I would appreciate it so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful night. And K9, if you don't feel well, leave your house. You're all right. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at granniescrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.